on comprehensive national transformation. The National Working Committee noted with serious concern the continued murder of our people and urged law enforcement to leave no stone unturned to apprehend such criminals. On Saturday morning of the 28th September 2024, the country woke up to the very tragic news that a total of 18 people were gunned down at the Ngobozana village in Lusikisiki in 2 households in the Eastern Cape. The Working Committee commended Minister of Police, the National and the Provincial Commissioners of Police for the leadership they have demonstrated as law enforcement seek to apprehend the callous murderers. We urge our people to pass on any information that could help apprehend all criminals, particularly violent criminals in general, and those engaged in GBV in particular. In the same vein, the ANC condemns the killing of 6 community policing forum outside Kumbu in the Eastern Cape, with 4 seriously injured. The ANC condemns in the strongest terms the violent assault of the 6-year-old Kwezi Kyankis and his mother, who were run down by a farmer on Friday, the 20th September 2024. The mother reportedly sustained slight shoulder injuries, while the son, Kwezi, reportedly sustained very serious injuries, both his legs. It is very tragic that such acts of barbarism were conducted by the farmer on the apparent more allegations that the boy stole some oranges from his farm. The NWC received reports on the meeting between the People's United Democratic Movement of Eswatini and the ANC over the attempted assassination of the Pudemo President, Comrade Mlungisi Makhanya. The ANC reiterates the condemnation of these attempts on the life of Comrade Mlungisi Makhanya and continue to call for a peaceful and democratic settlement of the challenges facing Eswatini. The Working Committee noted with profound appreciation that South Africa's government continue to play the role that South Africa's government continue to play on the international stage, including during the course of the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly, held on 22nd to 23rd September, which marked a crucial milestone in the global effort to accelerate progress towards the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. The UNGA provided South Africa with a global platform to highlight positive developments in South Africa, contextualize the government of national unity, and reiterate demands for fundamental reform of the global institutions, including the United Nations Security Council and the participation of the African continent. UNGA also served as an opportunity to outline South Africa's priorities for our chairpersonship of the G20 during 2025. These developments demand of the ANC and all progressive forces to intensify work on the international front, including strengthening party-to-party relations and international progressive networks. The ongoing genocidal offensive by the apartheid Israel state against the people of Palestine continues unabated, with more than 41,000 people killed and 96,000 wounded. Increasingly, the Israeli offensive is targeting countries in the region, in particular Iran, Lebanon, and Yemen. The assassination of Hassan Nasrallah, leader of Hezbollah, is the latest example of Israel's insatiable appetite for conflict and aggression. These developments threaten to escalate into an overall regional conflict with serious global consequences for peace, stability, and the economy. The ANC and progressive forces will continue to intensify solidarity with the people of Palestine and mobilize the widest range of forces around the demand for ceasefire and peace. The Working Committee further considered reports on the ongoing conflict in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo and tensions with Rwanda, which remain a cause for serious concern, including the safety of our own soldiers, South African National Defence Force members, deployed in their peacekeeping capacity. Meanwhile, the ANC sends its condolences to the government and people of the DRC following the reported death of 240 people when a boat capsized in Lake Kivu, DRC, on Saturday, the 5th October 2024. The Working Committee noted that Mozambique will hold general elections on the 9th of October 2024 and that the presidential candidates are Daniel Chapo from Frelimo, Osufa Mumade Renamo, and Lutero Simango MDM. The ANC reiterates its stance on the historic solidarity with Frelimo, with whom we have shared trenches in the liberation struggle against colonialism and apartheid. The ANC wishes the people of Mozambique free and fair and peaceful elections. Other elections to take place in the region includes Botswana, Wednesday 30th of October, Namibia, 27th November, Tanzania, Wednesday 27th November 2024. We wish our sister parties in this election a great success. We wish Frelimo of Mozambique great success, and in this election, SWAPO in Namibia, and Chama Chama Pendus in Tanzania, and PDP party in Botswana. As we approach the 100 days of the GNU, the Working Committee observed that the GNU continues to inspire confidence and support from amongst a wide range of political parties and sectors of society, including business. This is reflected in both opinion polls, business and consumer confidence indices, the stock and property markets. The ANC is therefore confident that this augurs well for the stability of the country following the outcome of the 2024 national and provincial elections. The ANC will continue to take leading responsibility on the affairs of the GNU to the extent that this must help government to deliver on the promise for better life for all, with service delivery, job creation, access to education, access to basic health care, combating the high cost of living, and growing the economy amongst highlights of this GNU. These positive outlooks and developments on the ANC-led GNU have catalyzed and strengthened the foundation of the efforts spearheaded by the President to build social compacts between government, labor, business, and civil society. They also bode well for efforts to mobilize much-needed resources and investments domestically and internationally. The NWC noted the developments on SRC elections and call on continued building of infrastructure capacity of the NSFAS to discharge its mandate without hindrance. The Working Committee further noted the successful convening of the National Conference of COSAS that duly elected its leadership. We congratulate SASCO in the SRC elections for a number of victories SASCO has scored with the PYA in the SRC elections. The Working Committee received a report on the ANC membership system, and it was confident that the revamped system will ensure dynamic organization consistent with the broad agenda on organizational renewal. Our membership system was down for some time and now is back in operation. By January 8 next year in in the Western Cape, a venue which will announce in the Western Cape, but preferably in the Cape Metro, where the January 8th will take place. We will launch and unveil some of the new features of our membership system. Our membership system is opening up the organization against manipulation, against gatekeeping, opening up the ANC as a mass party to be accessible to everybody. Bulk buying of membership will be something of the past when we intensify this membership. This membership system is linked to a program as much as we attract quantity, numbers of people joining the organization, but it's linked also to a program of political education. This program of political education is very much important in terms of qualitative development of ANC membership. The working committee also received update on the political education with emphasis of developing the kind of cadreship consistent with organizational renewal. In October, we will launch the ANC's foundational program of political education for the ANC members. On legal matters, the NWC received update on the case with regards to the deployment committee records. The ANC will study the judgment and chart the way forward. On repatriation, the working committee received update on the repatriation of fallen comrades, which has been ongoing since the dawn of freedom and democracy in 1994. The current repatriation of fallen comrades who died during the course of the struggle against apartheid colonialism. The current program involves comrades who were buried in Zimbabwe and Zambia, which had received impetus from the announcement by the president that their remains will be repatriated. Notable figures among those were the former Secretary General of the ANC, Comrade Dumanogwe, as well as Florence Muposho and Basil February. This process was, however, disrupted by COVID-19 pandemic. There are about 1,000 people and combatants, comrades, who must be repatriated. And there is a misconception in the public domain that the ANC is not repatriating everyone. There is a need to get proper information of everyone that needs to be repatriated. This program continues to unfold, and more updates will be made in due course. We want to commend our government for undertaking and implementing this important program in the course of our liberation struggle. The ANC will continue to attend to the programs of organizational renewal, with most regions having convened regional meetings and briefed on the GNU and the outcomes of the NEC Lekgotla. Critical also is to continue strengthening the alliance and providing leadership to society by engaging all stakeholders and sectors in the ANC-led national transformation agenda. The engagement through the special NEC meeting that will look into the state of organization, the Alliance Political Council, as well as the upcoming Liberation Movement Summit, among others, will constitute part of the ANC program. We welcome, as the National Working Committee, the developments around the convening of the National Dialogue, and that all social partners and the civil society across our country are being engaged, and there seems to be a consensus on the direction this national dialogue must take. The ANC support the national dialogue. The National Working Committee also reflected on developments in Gauteng, which includes Tshwane. There have been ongoing engagements with various parties on all metros in Gauteng, this being Johannesburg, Tshwane, and Ekurhuleni. The Working Committee received a detailed report on Tshwane, given the level of deterioration of service delivery and governance in the city. The Working Committee fully supports the need to put in place the type of government of local unity that can urgently address the pressing concerns of the people across the city. This must be the type of government that prioritizes all residents of Tshwane and not only some sections of the population. The approach of the DA that we should either bring back brink or nothing is not acceptable to the National Working Committee. The ANC is engaging all parties that are keen to work with us to set up an inclusive, viable, and effective coalition government that puts the people of Tshwane first before party political interest. The ANC's continuing engagement with various parties to finalize the matter of the mayor and the executive team. We are also discussing a program that must be rolled out by the new government in the form of a comprehensive minimum program. We are confident that working with other parties, we will elect a new mayor of Tshwane tomorrow. We have noted the speculation in the media and social media platforms about the correspondence we sent to the chairperson of the ANC Gauteng PC, Comrade Panyaza Lusufi. This correspondence deals with internal organizational matters, which unfortunately, because people are ill-disciplined, they've decided to leak the correspondence to their friends in the social media. This correspondence deals with internal organizational matters, which should be dealt with as such. We therefore condemn in the strongest possible terms disinformation efforts that rely on internal information peddling to achieve particular ends and project the ANC in negative light. And we wish to state that the ANC will speak for itself, not through sources, faceless sources. We did write and invite Comrade Panyaza, expressing concern about these public utterances on matters relating to the GNU and the coalitions in local municipalities. This consent was premised on the backdrop of the resolutions of the National Executive Committee in this regard. Comrade Panyaza, like all other comrades, presented himself to the national officials as requested and got counseling, but at the same time got an opportunity to explain his part of the story. Comrade Panyaza presented himself to the officials of the ANC and provided an explanation that was accepted by the officials. This is consistent with the organizational culture of the ANC, which requires of us to give comrades a hearing when there is a reasonable apprehension that their conduct may place the ANC in disrepute. In relation to KwaZulu-Natal, the NWC affirmed its earlier decision to return to the province and provide feedback to the structures on its assessment of the state of the organization in the province. We met also with Comrade Chairperson of the province, Comrade Siboniso Duma, together with Comrade Provincial Secretary, Comrade Beki Mtolo. They were briefing the NWC on the developments of one of the regions in the province in relation to the decisions the PC of KwaZulu-Natal have taken and as a form of political intervention in that particular region. So the reports that they were summoned and called to meet the officials to face a disciplinary action together with Panyaza are unfounded. And at the same time, they are simply peddling of lies. When a member of the ANC is subjected to a disciplinary process, he's not called to the officials meeting. The officials meeting, when you are called for political engagement and for exchange of political views. The officials of the ANC are not a disciplinary committee. And if we call you to the officials, you will argue prejudice when you get to the National Disciplinary Committee. The officials are a political structure in the organization. They engage on political matters. So Panyaza is a leader of the ANC in Gauteng. So if there are perceptions through his own utterances that lead to perceptions that there is conflict between the province and national, we have a responsibility politically to engage. And if some of the utterances that have been uttered are way off the line in terms of the line as adopted by the National Executive Committee, we need to engage with that. Disciplinary action can be taken without consultation with the officials of the ANC. When we charge anyone, and those who are expelled in the ANC, we don't seek approval from the officials. That is done. So these distortions that somebody was called and to be disciplined, and he scored 2-0 to the SG, are basically a total distortion of the facts on the table. And Panyaza explained himself to the officials about the issues that we raised with him as the officials, and that was it. And his explanation from where he come from, that he was distorted from podcast he attended and the utterances he has made in public, he clarified himself to those issues. And we don't doubt his bona fides to this extent. So we have accepted his explanation, but we have the responsibility as the ANC that discipline and democratic centralism run supreme. Where somebody can just wake up and do things and to the detriment of the organization. And we did not have to second guess Panyaza. We needed to engage with him, not through the media and what he could have said in the media, which he can say, like he said, that he was completely misunderstood and misrepresented. And his positions on issues of coalitions and GNU are in line with the positions taken by the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress. So that is the position with regard to these matters. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Comrade SG. At this point, I am going to start from my left and ask for those colleagues who wish to pose questions. I've got a newsroom here.
Shall I go straight to it? Okay, thank you very much. It's Brenda Ngobo from Newsroom Africa. I just wanted to ask pointedly, at this stage in terms of the negotiations with Tshwane, are you working with the DA? I understand this afternoon that you're also meeting with Action SA and Freedom Front Plus. Where do you stand with that? And also, you're speaking about, of course, the NWC being a body to deal with political matters, and you needed to clarify certain things. What has the NWC said about perceptions that the DA and Helen Zille in particular are actually directly influencing ANC matters? I mean, this morning on our channel, she basically described Panyaza Lesufi as rogue. Was he reined in terms of what Gauteng did in Tshwane? And can you confirm whether or not the removal of Brink was in fact also endorsed by the national ANC? And also, just for clarity, in that NWC meeting, can we get clarity on whether or not talks about a disbandment of KZN and Gauteng arose? Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll move to SABC.
Fikile Mbalula from the SABC. Mr. Mbalula, which name are you as the ANC putting forth as the executive mayor of Tshwane? There's been names of Dr. Kgoshi Mahepa being branded about. who will be your candidate for executive mayor in the city of Tshwane. Then on the issues pertaining to KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng, why is it taking so long for the national to KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng? Why is it taking so long for the National Working Committee, or ultimately the NEC, to come up to a final decision on what you are going to do with those particular provincial structures? As I may understand, disbandment may be out of the cards. You may be looking at enhancing those particular provincial structures. What is the modality of doing that? And then lastly, we've seen a number of high-profile ANC leaders deflecting to the MK party, the last being Mr. Willis Mkhunu, the former premier of KwaZulu-Natal. Are you worried that you'll be seeing more of your seasoned former leaders in that province of KwaZulu-Natal going to the MK party? I bring about the former provincial secretary, that would be Mr. Tabasha, who's seemingly also unhappy about the provincial leadership of that province. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Moloko Moloto from ENCA. I just want to go back to the issue of Tshwane. With regard to the talks that you say you are having with various political parties, seeing that Helen Zille from the DA has given you the ultimatum to say reinstate Celia's Brink, or all the talks that you are having of stabilizing metros elsewhere will not continue. What is your position there? But also to say, given the fact that you have the majority of seats in that council, as much as you don't have 50% plus one, what is your approach? Are you willing, as the ANC, to allow any other party that you may work with to take the mayorship in Tshwane? Regarding the decision to summon Panyaza Lesufi to explain himself before the national officials, specifically what did he say that rubbed you the wrong way as the ANC? But then I want to bring in the General Secretary of the party, Mr. Soli Mapaila, who has been open criticizing this GNU, criticizing you as the ANC. Have you had at any given point an opportunity of bringing him on board to say, come and explain or clarify him? But also, what did you make of all this harsh criticism he's been making about the ANC?
Thank you very much. Can I take one last question, and then we will have a second round, Mr. Defoe?
Mr. Mbalula, mine is also about the premier. Yeah. There's a lot of analysis going around, and I'm not asking you to weigh in on analysis, but there's people who are saying that, how do I put this? Basically, sorry.
Are you okay?
I'm good. Okay. Let me start with, I'm going blank.
Relax. No, that's fine, Siamtanda. We can always come back if you're comfortable. Yeah, we will come back. We will take the colleague over there, and then the SG. And then in defense of News 24, she will come back. My brother over there, then we turn to the SG.
Mr. Mbalula, good afternoon. Alpha Ramushwana here from Eyewitness News. I also just have a question around Tshwane. I mean, the city is in shambles, the finances are in shambles, 2026 is around the corner. There are some internally who don't believe that it's worth taking back Tshwane. The ANC should leave it to the DA until 2026. Do you believe that it's worth a shot, or do you think it would have been better perhaps for the ANC to leave it to the DA at least until the next local government elections? Thank you.
Thank you very much. SG.
Thank you very much. The first question was from Zianda Tshwane. Do we work with the DA? In our statement, we have made it very clear that we are engaging with all political parties to constitute government. in Tshwane. We have engaged with the DA in relation to what must happen in Tshwane, and that there is no agreement between us and the DA about what must happen in Tshwane at the present moment as I speak to you. So, peddling of misinformation that we have a deal, there's no such. If there is a deal between the DA and all other political parties and the ANC about Tshwane, that will be explained to the public. Because when you get to the coalition, it's not an under the table agreement. You need to explain to the people. So by tomorrow to this evening, we will be in a position to finally tell what will happen in Tshwane in relation to the parties we are talking to. And that includes the Democratic Alliance in terms of Tshwane. We're not reining in on Panyaza. When it is said that the chairperson of your biggest province, he is quoted in the newspapers as a messiah and a great revolutionary who is fighting an ANC stance on government of national unity, supported by utterances, snippets, quoted, and all of that. You don't run an organization through snippets and analysis and second guessing of people. You engage with leaders. So Panyaza is leading the province, Gauteng. He is part of the decisions of the National Executive Committee, where these issues are debated and decisions were taken. Now, democratic centralism dictates that once the upper structure take a decision, everybody must fall into line. We have taken a decision as the National Executive Committee to brief and engage with our structures. And the task of a leader like Panyaza is to help explain the decision to the structures. What is the decision? The decision of the National Executive Committee says that the 29th of May outcome is a strategic setback for the democratic forces led by the African National Congress. It goes on further, it says that the government of national unity is a tactical intervention, not a melting pot of political parties. And a government of national unity and coalitions, in their very nature, bring together rivals and people who are not ideologically aligned. Worldwide, you can check it even from Oxford Dictionary. What is GNU? And you can Google the meaning of that. What is it? So we have brought together all these parties who have agreed to participate in the GNU with the DA as part of that GNU, as well as other political parties. We've got 10 political parties who are participating in the GNU. Our collaboration also extends to the legislatures. So you've got the GNU with elements of supply and confidence, where in which you've got the legislature like the National Assembly, where some of the committees in the legislature are not chaired by the ANC, are chaired by the opposition, holding us accountable. And even ourselves, we chair committees where ministries are not led by the ANC, holding them accountable. So that is the model we have actually adopted and we are implementing, and it's going very well. And you can see the positives we have talked about. This coming Monday at 6 o'clock here outside Luthuli House, the ANC will do what is called the reflections of the first 100 days of government that it is leading in the Republic, which is the GNU. And the president of the ANC will speak to you outside here at 6 o'clock on Monday. And on Monday also, we are destined to have a bilateral discussion with the Communist Party. I'll come back to that. So the fact of the matter is that we don't reign on Panyaza, we engage politically. And there's never been an issue that you are being called to be taken to the DC. No. It's for us to understand him correctly, not to second guess him, because there's a lot of things that have been said, and that he himself, some of these utterances have been apportioned to him. And we have confronted him about those. He have come to us, he have explained, and I want to reiterate, we don't doubt his bona fides, because he said to us, I'm being misrepresented. Because there is no position of the ANC that said GNU is a sellout position. There is no position of the ANC that said we prefer to work with political parties, in particular EFF and Jacob Zuma Party. It will remain Jacob Zuma Party to me up until he wins the trademark of MK. Because for now it is Jacob Zuma Party, but they call it MK, and you call it MK, and everybody call it MK. But in the ANC, we call it Zuma Party, because MK is a trademark of the African National Congress. So here is the chairperson of your province. He's quoted as saying that it would have been preferable about this and that. So I know, what is this, bites? Sound bites. When we are quoted, not holistically, and then it can be concluded, no, Panyaza is anti, is on a revolution, is the best of the best. Mbalula and them and the ANC have basically sold the ANC to the DA and all of that and so on. And then here are the utterances to support what we are saying. So you can't relate with a leader of your province like a stranger. You need to sit down and say, Comrade Chair, what do you say about this? And he explained himself. And I've seen Sizwe Mpofu-Walsh releasing a podcast video where Panyaza explained excellently GNU. I like it. Go and watch it. So that's a very excellent explanation about the GNU. And that is what is expected of a leader of the ANC in the province. Populism that is perpetrated by others, not Panyaza, by others, that for the ANC to be in the GNU, it's a sellout position, is populism. And it's ideologically inadequate. They are lazy to think. You will know that a tactical intervention is not equal to a strategic goal, because GNU is not a strategic goal. It's temporary. It can go on for now, or it can collapse in itself. It's not a strategic goal. We didn't struggle for GNU. We didn't fight to win this election to produce a GNU. We were in this election to win outright. We did not win. So we had tactical choices we had to make. It is GNU, and it is a grand coalition. And it is going back to the benches, and it is also becoming an opposition, and all of that. We chose GNU, and we said, why GNU? For South Africa's interest. We chose GNU. We invited everybody. DA said to us, if you talk to so and so, we are not coming as easy. We said we will talk to everybody. We talked to everyone. And they came with their options, and the others chose not to be part of the GNU. And that is it. So you know for a fact that there are other people who say today that to be in a GNU with the DA is a sellout position. But the very same political parties were basically working with the DA to defeat the ANC in local government. And the same political parties were advocating and mobilizing society for a GNU without the ANC. But here we have a GNU led by the ANC. But before the elections, they said the ANC must be surgically removed from power. And you must work even with the DA and the Freedom Front Plus. Work with them to remove the ANC. Now we have the ANC emerging as the largest political party in the GNU, and it's not removed out of party or out of power. And then they change the rhetoric now. How can you go to bed with sellouts and all of that and so on, this political party? We said that to us it's not persuasive because it's not a principled argument, neither ideological disposition. It's just opportunism, and that is it. So we are here where we are now, as a leading party in the GNU, working with everybody and working very well. And it doesn't mean that this GNU will not be shaped by contradictions, but will defend what it is right and will lead what is of importance to us in terms of our agenda. I mean, that is why we are not moved when there are contradictions around Bella Bill, around NHI, and all of that. We knew the contradictions that will come with this GNU will mean this. And we need to engage with everybody. And that is what we are doing, talking to political parties in the GNU, engaging them on the issues, and we've got mechanisms of how to engage in the context of the statement of intent. So all in all, nobody was reined in. If we rein in on somebody, we will basically write to you, the media and South Africa, and tell them that that person is censured. We have not censured Panyaza. We have engaged him as a leader, and then I don't know these distortions that are running on WhatsApp groups. You know, I've told you that WhatsApp groups are constituted by people who are bored. And they sent me these lies as fact, that Panyaza said this in the officials meeting, and then Mdolo and Mbalula lost, and journalists write. There's Mahlengi. The ANC will speak for itself. I'm not a spokesperson. Here is the spokesperson, Mahlengi. I will fight with her if she's not available. Now, you've got to speak to Mahlengi before you write. Some of you wrote the stories that Panyaza was a Tarzan here, and then he came, and at the same time he defeated, and the officials were in conflict, and there is this source. And you even quote TK. There was no TK yesterday here. There was no TK. He's quoted there in a report written by a journalist that TK Ngiza was reprimanded by the president in the meeting, and he was told by President Ramaphosa, it was so tense in this meeting. Ramaphosa had to intervene and say, TK, pack your bags and go. This thing is finished. The officials did not understand where Mbalula comes from with this thing and all of that. It is written in a newspaper. And I've been dealing with these issues, people writing, even meetings that never took place. There was an NEC meeting that took place to disband KZN and Gauteng. We are not asked, it's written, front page. Amatota, no, that is true, front page. There was an NEC meeting. But I say, when we call NEC meetings, we call journalists. We write to them. We give them reports. They ask us questions. At least when you say, Mbalula, there was an NEC meeting you called to, but what you are telling us is a lie. The sources are telling us this. I will accept your point because there was a meeting. Now, you wake up, there was a meeting of the NEC that sat and then took the following decisions about KZN and then about Gauteng. I can tell you right now, NWC meetings have not been sitting twice. This last week we could not correct because comrades some of them were out of the country. And then I saw a report that there was an NWC meeting that met. We never met. And then this meeting that Panyaza attended on Monday, they say that no, TK was there. And then it was so tense in this meeting, and then it's not true. Panyaza came, explained himself, and then he was asked to explain himself on the following 2-3. He explained himself, the officials were happy with his explanation, and he was released. That's it. There was no tension. There was no fighting and all of those things. Disbandment. Disbandment did arise in the meeting as an option that need to be examined. There's no decision. There's no decision. It does arise in terms of the solutions and all of that for various reasons. There is no decision to disband any structure. But in the meeting, in the process of discussion, comrades sharing views and and all of that, there is no decision. It's a view that it does not come to the conclusion that a structure is disbanded. Now, SABC, we don't have names for the mayor. We're going to discuss now. When I'm done here, I'm meeting with Tshwane, and then I'm eating also with Gauteng province.
Meeting.
Yeah, meeting. I'm meeting them to finalize this. They will give me a report. We don't take decisions for structures. They bring decisions to the fore, we process them, discussing with them. We are not a dictatorship, we are not autocratic, we engage. But artificial and fake heroism that our structures are independent from us, when it comes to decision making, they veer away from strategic approaches the organization is taking, are incorrect. And we will never allow such perceptions to be perpetuated because they are based on lies. You see, in Tshwane, we are discussing with our structures about what must happen. We're looking at all the risks, all the risks. There is no option in this coalition, governments that we are in, that is without risks. Every option you take has got risk. Government of national unity, when we took that decision, it has got its own risks. Grand coalition, it has got its own risks. Opposition, it has got its own risks and all of that. So you don't just get into a decision and think that is smooth sailing and there are no risks. It's incorrect. Then such decisions can only be taken by people who suffer from inertia. Inertia, stop thinking. People who have stopped thinking and analyzing. They take decisions and they don't look at the risks. Every decision has got its own risks. We are meeting with our structures and we will decide today, Samkel, about if there is a mayor for the ANC and if we are fielding who and that's it. The entire package will be finalized today between us and our structures. And we've got a clear mandate from the NWC about what needs to happen in relation to these matters. So we will share with the comrades when we meet with them this afternoon. There's no decision on 2 provinces. It's not taking too long. We have gone to the 2 provinces, visited the provinces. We know what is happening in these provinces before the elections and after. There are important developments in these provinces. And therefore, the National Working Committee have mandated the officials to process these matters. And then in the next 2 weeks, by the time we get to the NEC, there will be direction. We will have met with these provinces, Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal. Remember, the decision about what must happen here is not one-sided. It's not NWC telling a province. It's about the NWC engaging with the comrades here in these provinces. About comrades, in the light of what we know right now, what do you think must actually happen? But we have already made up, if we make up our decision to disband the structure, there's no problem. We'll take that decision. It's the easiest. And we've taken such decisions in the past. We've taken such decisions in the past, but you don't just wake up and disband comrades. You have won, you have lost the elections, you now want to apportion blame to others. We need to show comrades the pitfalls, the difficulties, and we must address those difficulties together. And if it involves disbandment, it will be our decision collectively that we think, given this situation, we must start afresh. or we may not disband at all. We may want to organize the organization, rebuild the ANC. We went into this election with a very weak organization. Weak. The task before us now, since from Congress we are mandated, is to rebuild the ANC. These things we are doing, political education, renewal program, membership and all of that, they are meant to rebuild the ANC. And how do you rebuild the ANC? And what are you basically going to do to rebuild the organization? That's what we're doing in the NEC. When we meet end of the month, we look at the state of organization. It is diagnostic analysis, meaning like literally desktop, you know. We're still gonna do a deep stick analysis by going on the ground in terms of the analysis of the state of organization. But we are going to do that having a rolling program of rebuilding the ANC from the ground, from the ashes. Some of the people have left and all of that. Some are still here. We need to rebuild the ANC working with them. So there's no decision to disband a structure. Defection to MK. There's going to be a lot of people who are in the ANC who maybe every day, 2 days, after 2 days, who are going to be told they've defected. But we know they've long left. They've not been with us. They've decided to take a decision to work for Jacob Zuma, not for the ANC. They've taken that decision to work for Jacob Zuma. So they've decided, some of them, that they will wait. Some of them, we see them daily living. Why you will be a person with impeccable credentials, leave the ANC at the age of 8 years? For what? To go where? And then you are promised by Jacob Zuma that he can get a new ANC within a very short space of time out of MK Zuma party and all of that. And then you want all of us to believe that there is no agenda. No, we are aware this defection to Jacob Zuma is staggered and well planned. All what we are looking at is that how long will it take, because they are recruiting inside the ANC, among others. But some of them have long made up their mind. They've long been with Zuma. You see them in social media. They promote MK party. The biggest sinners, according to them, is us, the ANC elected at Nazareth. They are the right revolutionaries, superheroes who decided to form a party to kill a party of revolution because they are fighting for whatever that they are fighting for. So that position they've taken to form a party with Jacob Zuma, according to them, is the most revolutionary idea that they are implementing. Now, Jacob Zuma says that he's been working underground in the ANC to realize this mission. In the last election in 2019, after the election, I was the head of election. I said to the NEC, Jacob Zuma implemented the proliferation of small political parties to decrease the ANC numbers. I was told that is not true. He confessed it himself, that he's been working underground to realize this thing from the ANC. And he says he has not left the ANC. He's still around in the ANC and all of that. So according to him, the real ANC will rise from Umkhonto Wesizwe party that is leading. That is the strategy that is implemented. That's what he believes in. So, in that regard, Samkelo, there are people who have been working with him, old and young. But you cannot lead organization by paranoia and start to say that one and that one, they belong to Zuma. We have taken an approach that we will rebuild the ANC, continue with the program of rebuilding, and ANC members and leaders, real ANC, they will stay with their organization and they will defend it. even if it means we have to defend it being the five of us, but knowing very well that these are the real ANC, we will stay like that. Like Mao Zedong say, better few. Yes, that is what is important. ENCA, Zile's utterances. We've got no control over Zile. Is a leader of the Democratic Alliance. What she says every day and how she perceives the ANC and her views about it, it's a view. And we dismiss those views as the ANC. The same I can make a viewpoint about the Democratic Alliance and all of that. They will say or ignore what I say. If I were to respond to Helen Zille every day, I would long have turned gray than this. You know, I mean, we don't run organization on the basis of what a leader of another party is saying about your party. So that is it. Panyaza, what did he say? I mean, I've answered that particular question about Panyaza and all of that. Solima Paila, we are meeting with the Communist Party. In a bilateral, we will engage on the issues that the party wishes us to engage, including if the party now have come to a conclusion, if it is the party position that the ANC is a sellout organization and that our position of the GNU has compromised the National Democratic Revolution and how, those are the issues that we'll discuss. But on Monday, in the evening at 6 o'clock, we'll make reflections outside here. And we'll also be thanking 6 million South Africans who have voted for the African National Congress. Reflections of 100 days in office. And there are many things we need to talk about. One of them on top of the agenda is load shedding. It was said that load shedding is just an issue of elections. But I was even afraid to talk about load shedding because every time you talk, the lights go off. So now that we've got this sustained electricity supply, intervention, security, we will make reflections about that. These are not easy victories, you know. And then we'll talk about the things that are happening in this government that have been sustained from the 6th administration going forward. Siyamthanda, you didn't say anything. And then andimazi why angathethi namhlanje siyamthanda. Andimazi why angathethi. Funeka umnike ithuba, andimazi why angathethi. Uyathanda undibuza, uyathanda nondivusa. Andivuse nge-question nje left and right. Ubuyile uMahlengi ngoku ubuza yena ungavusi. EWN, ANC. Why is the ANC living? Everything you do is got risks. The ANC is fully aware of what is happening in Tshwane, and that municipality has been run down over the years. We led a march in Tshwane, and we said that the DA never brought anything new in that municipality. Themselves and their coalition, they've not. Our communities, if you go to Tshwane, have suffered. And if you leave that side, and you live in the townships and all of that, you will attest to what I'm talking about. We have said this. These are the consequences of losing power. Once the ANC was out, everybody else worked together and clapped against the ANC. We're out. The reality of the matter, we try to come back, but it will not look the same. As much as we come back through a coalition, working with others. Outright majority means you govern and you govern on your own. The DA is governing in Cape Town on their own. They can claim victories day and night. They are not sharing power with anybody. We govern and govern on our own. In Khubusana Metro, we govern on our own in Mangaung. So you cannot say the problems that are here are problems of somebody. If the ANC deployees are not doing their job, where they are deployed, where we have won power, you must intervene. That is the result of outright majority. Where you have lost power, when you try to do things right, others come with a motion of no confidence. They take you out. Those are the risks of coalitions, but it's the outcome of the election. So I am saying that there is no option that is not risky when it comes to the coalitions. So the ANC examine all the options. But in relation to Tshwane, we talk to everybody, and that's what we've been doing. And we're now ready to constitute government in Tshwane, including the mayor, and of which the ANC will be part of the. We are ready to become part and parcel of that government in Tshwane, and that is it. Now, Zille can't blame things on us because the fallout is between themselves as friends. You know, because they governed Tshwane with Action SA, Herman Mashaba, and the DA. And then there's a fallout there. Now they want to blame it on us. We are not in power. We want to govern Tshwane for the interest of our people, to continue ensuring that we are able to sustain the NDR within the municipality by delivering for our people. So we can't be blamed for a government that does not belong to us. For us, let them give us the reins to run. They won't, because they will say ANC did not win power. And as I conclude, I want to say to you that, you know, there is a notion that has been peddled here that, Gauteng did not follow national government model of government of national unity. It's not only a perception. Now it has moved from a perception to a reality. Now, it's incorrect, too, there. And then it is said that our comrades here in Gauteng are a shining example of fighting the ANC sellout position in the province. It's not correct. We invited everybody, including the DA. It was the DA choice because of their reasons that they wouldn't come and participate. But the DA, working with all political parties in the legislature, elected Panyaza. They were elected the speaker. They were deputy speaker. Once we could not reach consensus on other positions, we could not persuade each other to agree. They said, we are going to the opposition. They took a decision to go to the opposition for whatever reasons that they have. And Zille explained it. Why? We had a bilateral between ourselves and the DA. We did not find each other. I was leading a delegation. Helen was leading the delegation. I came back, reported to the ANC, and the ANC gave us the mandate to go ahead and constitute government, as delaying constituting government was making the citizens of Gauteng to be anxious, because Gauteng was the only government that was not constituted. And every week, remember how many press conferences Panyaza postponed to come and announce the provincial government cabinet. I will tell him after, when he's about to announce, wait a bit. Let's pursue the processes of the negotiations. Up until to the point where that was not sustainable, because we are not running government for our selfish party political interest. We're running government for the interest of the people of South Africa. So we needed government to get on and off the tracks, and we constitute government, which is what has actually happened. So all other things, we learn about them in the discourse, in the social media, in WhatsApp groups, twisted with lies, concoctions, you know, self-promotion, and all of that of people. People are even discussing 2027. We are coming to that, 2027, but we're not going to allow that debate now in the ANC. Even if people have got, desires to lead, they must not have uncontrollable desires to lead the ANC. They will be given space to canvass and all of that. We cannot allow anyone to be obsessed with leadership when we are a 40% party. We still have got an election to win. We still have got an election to win of local government. And we allowed the whole party to be obsessed with 2027. What kind of a party is that? It's not going to happen here at Luthuli House. People will be convened here. And if you say it's someone, call it someone. And if they don't fall into line in terms of the discipline of the ANC, we will take them on and take them in terms of discipline. But discipline is not the first resort. We don't take people to discipline. I called some comrades here from the branches of Gauteng who were saying things about me, about ANC organization and all of that. I put them here in this Sol Plaatje boardroom. And then I said, comrades, let's discuss politics. Do you think what you are doing is right? Kgalema Motlanthe said, you reject the incorrigible. The incorrigible, the unrepentant. We engage here. Those who are faceless on WhatsApp groups, we won't chase them. But do something wrong and you are in the leadership of the ANC and we know about you, we will take you on. And to the cleaners, we've got an organization to run here. This is not a Mickey Mouse. The ANC is not a Mickey Mouse party. And you can do whatever you want to do. Anyone, anywhere else. We accept dissent. We accept when comrades differ on a particular position. But at the end of the day, there is discipline in the organization. Have you ever heard the secrets of the DA or even Malema? We don't know. We didn't even know when Floyd was living. We didn't believe it. These people are secretive more than the KGB. I mean, it's only the ANC that all its things are well known. Iyavuza ANC. Ivuza vu 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 vu. According to ANC ngaziwayo, because abana respect for umuntu. Abanawo. You write them a letter, they leak it to their friends. Have you ever known secrets of the DA? Do you know the secrets of Malema? We didn't even know the date whether Floyd is living or not living. We didn't know. Secretive, more than Stalin. Valley windows above. Ezetu, before Puma Nalan. And we are a party that is in government, that is supposed to be protecting its interests. Ama comrade, akupa imfihlo zombutho. Bayazikupa, but defend the revolution. Bayayibulala. Nani, we can't blame you. If somebody once said to me, Matlengi, now I'm concluding, I can see you're agitated. Somebody said to me, Mbalula, you think that we've got time to follow the ANC and its secrets? Things are coming to our offices. They are delivered, yeah. You think I've got time to be running after you? At Luthuli House, people are coming here and giving us your secrets. Minutes, everything, they are coming here. Coming from respectable leaders of the ANC. They think that they are undermining Mbalula, they are denigrating the ANC, they are undermining Ramaphosa, they are killing the ANC, they are killing the revolution. Who in South Africa is interested to know Gutupanya Zabezoti near Luthuli House? Nobody. They go distort that information. Lies. When we are bringing sanity and unity in the organization and engaging, they go distort, lie about the organization, WhatsApp groups, and all of that, distort everything else. We can't run the ANC like that. Everybody here, if we found you, we've got problems in another province. Next week, they will be here. And they must give clear answers. They resolve those problems or we act. We act as leadership. Everywhere else, everyone will be called. I do that every day. You are a branch member, I find you on Facebook. If the province doesn't want to act because you are friends, I call you here. I call you here. You are a regional treasurer, you are a branch treasurer, I call you here. And then a comrade account. Why do you think this is this? It's a political discussion. Our disciplinary committee is dealing with very serious matters. It's not dealing with political misconceptions and people who are just doing things because they don't understand. We first have got to understand this person genuinely is doing these mistakes because he is genuine, he doesn't understand. We're all in a situation where political education has been staffed in the ANC. And then you sit down with comrades, explain. Khalima, that's how we're taught here, in this building, in this floor. We're not expelled, we're taught politics. SG used to call us here. We apply the same in our tenure to engage with comrades like that. We used to stay here for hours, explained how things get to be done politically. And you don't end up perfect, but that's what we seek to do. But when you see people are hell-bent, they are organizing, they are factionalizing, they are regrouping, they are organized, and we can see them. They are organized as a group to destabilize the ANC. We give them a rope, but we will show them what they are doing to the movement, and we will act. But before we act, we give you time to explain yourself. But if you think you can go on and on with that, it's not going to happen. Thank you.
I didn't realize that there was still an appetite. I thought that was comprehensive. I'm going to take you, colleagues, because you have not spoken. Go back to Siamtanda, as well as Sunday World. I will take ANCA. I hope you are going to be succinct. Sure. You're not. Okay. So it's 3 colleagues, and then we will be done.
Thank you so much, Ms. Mahlengi, for your grace as well. Siamtanda, News 24. Mr. Mbalula, do you believe that over the past 3 months since the formation of government, you, especially, in particular Gauteng, you have defended the leadership in Gauteng enough against attacks and when they were called rogue and all kinds of names? Do you believe that you actually stood by their side and said and drew the line at the attacks? And can you please just speak to us about the state of the relationship between yourself and the Gauteng chairperson right now, because your letter was quite strongly worded. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mwande?
Thanks, Ms. Mahlengi. It's Mwande from the Sunday World. SG, of course, we know it's your power as the head of administration, the ANC CEO, basically, to call whoever you want. But at what point did you get triggered to call Mr. Panyaza Lusuf in this regard? And how do you guard against abusing your own power, which is vested in you by the constitution of the ANC, but can be subject of abuse if not watched carefully? How do you watch yourself against abusing the power that is vested in you, especially in highly political charged matters such as this one that we now know between yourself and the ANC in Gauteng? Number 2, the opposition to the GNU SG, as it were, that you suspected that the comments attributed to the chairperson of Gauteng are anti the GNU, and then there's Mr. Solomon Paila, the GS of the SACP. In fact, there's a general opposition to the GNU from within the MDM. Do you believe that the ANC, NEC, did sufficient consultation to make its structures and its own leaders at various levels to understand the GNU? Because the evidence seems to point otherwise, that there was no sufficient consultation, that in fact, to put it bluntly, that this is an elite pact, the GNU, those pact of those in the NEC to get positions in parliament and in the national executive, as it were. And then about the disbandment of Gauteng and KZN, some argue, why so much focus on Gauteng and KZN when basically everyone dropped in provinces? In fact, national dropped from 57 to 40. Who is disbanding national, and when is national being disbanded? And then lastly, the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Ms. Thembi Smelane, who has been the subject of a lot of controversy recently, which now as latest revelations about the president. But basically, the question that I have, that we know now that she appeared or she made a submission to the Integrity Commission. Has the Integrity Commission reported to your office, as they usually do, about such a matter? And did such a matter get discussed in the NWC? And what is the way forward with regards to that saga of Mayor Thembi Simelane? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Was it Yamulu?
All right, Moloko Mloto from ANC. On the, I think the 26th, I stand to be corrected there. The Constitutional Court of November, that is, will hear an application by the EFF, who we know are essentially trying to challenge that decision by Parliament to use the numbers to disregard the Section 89 report. I understand the President, as the President of the Republic, is opposing that. The ANC, are you going to oppose it, or you just allow matters to flow there? Lastly, when the President signed the Bella Act and he decided to put in abeyance two provisions relating to the admission policy and the language policy, did he give you, as the officials, a hint as to how he intends to proceed? Because my little understanding is that now that he has signed it into law, individually he no longer has power to change or amend a law that's been signed. Did he give you an indication of whether he is just buying time and ultimately he won't do anything despite those who are aggrieved, or he will want the process to start afresh through amendment processes to change the Bella Act?
Thank you very much. SG?
Thank you very much for the questions. Siamtanda. The ANC is under scrutiny from time to time, from people who mean well and from people who don't mean well, who scrutinize and criticize it in order to score points and ensure that the ANC eventually is out of power. So from the president of the organization downward, the ANC is always exposed and under attack. And that is why we say the ANC speaks for itself. So when our leadership in Gauteng is distorted and feel like it is under attack from time to time in the public discourse, it comes with being the incumbent. So you also answer to the sins of incumbency. Where in which you are under attack, particularly from within, and where you feel that the criticism is unfair, comrades will raise issues about the Veterans League and so on, we have intervened in that regard. And I know what you are talking about, and you are not brave enough to say, where is this attack coming from? I'm characterizing the attack coming from the side of strategic opponents of the ANC and those who are not really friends of the ANC but will criticize the ANC. I know what you are talking about. We are talking about the Veterans League criticizing Gauteng Provincial Executive in relation to their posture to the government of national unity perspective of the ANC. That matter has long been attended to between the Veterans League and including with Gauteng on the matters. They've been ventilated at the level of the National Working Committee, and they've been raised with the leadership of the ANC. Those are internal matters. As the SG that I deal with every day. I sit here with Uputsnuki and everybody, and then we ventilate matters here. I can't, when I've intervened on a matter, I go to so Uputsnuki and the Veterans League are older people in the ANC. So they wouldn't, when you have met with them, you start reading on WhatsApp groups about your meeting. So there are many people we meet with in the ANC. It's unprecedented that somebody comes to the officials and then it becomes a subject matter of the whole country. It has never happened. So we wouldn't be talking about Panyaza meeting the officials if it did not become a subject matter and distortion, including in the media, about the nature and the content of that meeting, which basically, just to not starve you with language of English, they can be characterized as nothing else but lies. Those things that we have read about, that were published, pure lies. To perpetuate what? I don't know. Things that did not even happen in the meeting. You report about them as fact. That the meeting was characterized by tensions. What tensions? There was no tensions there. And then TK was part of the meeting. There was no TK in the meeting. And then Panyaza came there with a barrage of attack on the SG and all of that, and the SG could not, and he was reprimanded by the officials. There was no such. He was asked to explain himself in relation to the matters that appear on the letter. You know, as journalists, there are things that somebody gets to be associated with utterances. He's our leader. We've got to defend Panyaza as our leader because he lead our province, our biggest province. And if Panyaza lead the province and says that it is perceived, and now it becomes a reality, that is leading a province in a particular direction against the national leadership, it cannot be perpetuated as a fact and as the truth when it is a lie. There is no such. That a province would have taken a decision that we are going in a different direction. There is no such a thing. The NWC reflected on these particular matters. And this perception is perpetuated continuously. You will remember the issue of the T-shirt of the Communist Party and the Tribe Alliance about don't kill Chris Hani for the second time. I've never seen that T-shirt, but I saw Panyaza wearing it, and then I asked him, what does this slogan mean? I don't know, he philosophized about it and so on, but eventually I saw Chris Hani for the second time. Does this relate to what we're doing here or what? And it was a T-shirt on a special occasion, for the occasion. And then he explained that, no, I was wearing the T-shirt because it's a T-shirt, defending a particular principle. You see, when I'm wearing a T-shirt and say, don't kill Chris Hani for the second time, I will apportion that, don't work with the DA. Ne? Because if you work with the DA, you are working with the oppressors. You are working with people who were associated with the killing of Chris Hani. When I ask you that, you say to me, no, it's just a T-shirt. I'm not wearing it because I'm communicating any negative message and all of that. So it's acceptable. I will wear it myself. Don't kill Chris Hani for the second time, but for what? And then that is it. So we are in the discussions about the coalitions and all of those things. So we need to understand. So things of mischief politically can be thrown at us at any given point in time and are misinterpreted. So it was not a fundamental issue, the issue of the T-shirt to me, but I saw it. And I did not ask at the press conference. Somebody drew my attention to it after the press conference. And I asked about it. And it ended there. Because to me, it was not an issue. The issue of the T-shirt, like I said. So we've defended the leadership of the ANC and will defend Panyaza. We believe he's doing a great job in government. And we've been vocal about it. So engaging with the leadership is part and parcel of organizational culture of building and uniting the organization, so that we don't rely on gossip and then deal with a comrade on the basis of a gossip and not give them a hearsay. And that is correct. I mean, we didn't call a branch leader here. We called a provincial leader of the ANC in the province of Gauteng. I've got a good relationship with Panyaza. So we are not friends, we are comrades, meaning we don't socialize together. So we don't do a lot of things together. So we've got good relations with him. Whenever I engage with him as a Secretary General of the ANC, he respects the office and the SG. I respect him. And then I speak to him and all of that. So we've got good, cordial, organizational, comradely relationship. So that's it. So that relationship is not broken. And even yesterday, there could have never been any tension to that effect. You say the letter was rough. It is not. It's not rough, that letter. It talks about democratic centralism, which is what guides this party, the ANC. That when the upper structures have taken a decision and you were party to worst of all, you've got the responsibility to explain to it. But democratic centralism also talks about dissent, meaning you can express a view within the collective that as you take this decision, I've got a different view in relation to this. When we adopted the strategic perspective about the transition, there are comrades like Paulo Jordan who were critical of that perspective. Peter Mugaba from the Youth League, taking our mandate, were critical. Blatant Zimande, you can mention a lot of them. It was not defiance. It's an expression of ideas, engaging politically with an idea. If Gauteng or Panyaza thinks that GNU wouldn't have worked and all of that is not a viable option. None of the options were actually viable, including GNU. But we had to settle on the GNU because we looked at South Africa, but at the same time, we embraced inclusivity. And in this particular instance, he would have expressed his view in the meeting, which is respected, and a dissenting view, that I'm not for this particular view. Now that the view has been taken, it's a decision of the organization. He is leading the ANC in Gauteng, and he must lead it in the right direction. He cannot allow disinformation to be perpetuated, unabated, in the name of the province. There is a point where the province must say, whatever this that is said about the province is not the view of the province, and we distance ourselves from that. A Sunday world abuse of power. Where is the power there? I mean, where is the power that is being abused by the Secretary General? There is no abuse of power. The Secretary General has got the responsibility at Luthuli House on behalf of the organization to engage with members and structures of the organization. That's the responsibility. That's why I'm here. I'm not in government. I'm not the president. I can't be called by the president in government. President call ministers. When the president is here, is my president, is my leader. I meet with the president. I engage with the president as a party leader. President will say, SG, let's meet. I think this and that must actually happen. That's it. But yeah, my job in terms of the ANC is to run the ANC. I don't run government, I run the ANC. That's why I lead the ANC, including Swaziland, and tell them that you must democratize in Swaziland. We call him for peaceful democratization in Swaziland. I'm not government. I'm not a diplomat. I'm not Lamula. Okay? I'm the Secretary General of the ANC. I implement and coordinate the implementation of the resolutions of the ANC. And I also have the responsibility to coordinate discipline. I cannot allow the ANC here at Luthuli House working with a collective across the country to look like it's a Mickey Mouse political party. Sustain perceptions that your province that you lead of the ANC is not in line with you. We can't allow that. And then you are using the chairperson of the province of the ANC as a symbol through the utterances, cut and paste, that is doing these things. So we call the chairperson, explain yourself. And then he does that. We are happy with the explanation of Panyaza. Very happy that is generally been misrepresented and misquoted and misunderstood. And like I said, I saw among the clip of Sizwe Mpofu, there is a beautiful clip there about Panyaza explaining GNU and at the same time the challenges and the risks that the ANC have avoided. And we may differ about then who's part of the GNU. That's what he says. But the fundamental issue is that the tactical intervention is something that is acceptable. Not me. That's what he explains. So, and he explained that to the leadership of the movement, and we are happy with that. So there's no reining in. It's just that we've got to be orderly. You know, we've got to be orderly. We can't allow that somebody just shoot off and do things and so on and so on, and we leave it to perceptions. If we live here today and you look at people out there, they are entertaining perceptions that Gauteng as a province is independent and does not toe the line. And I keep explaining that, no, this is not true, and so on. GNU opposition in the MDM, look, there are pockets of people who don't understand the tactical intervention, the GNU. They equate GNU as a strategic goal. Confusion. There's confusion there. GNU is not a strategic goal. It's a tactical intervention. Criticize the fact that the DA is party to it, but the DA has won votes in this country, of which those votes have decreased the ANC capacity to get outright majority, and all other political parties, that include MK, that include EFF, they've reduced our majority. But they themselves have got no majority. They are still below the ANC. We are the largest party. Therefore, so yeah, so Nondi, I'm clever. So that there is no sufficient consultation, it's an incorrect notion that before you take a decision about what must happen in terms of the tactical intervention, you must meet with everybody. We met with everybody. Let me tell you, we met with everybody. We met with COSATU. We met with the SACP. I hear Comrade Soli saying that they were not consulted, they were not engaged, they were not told, they opposed this and that. I don't want to talk about that in the meeting, in the media, and I've avoided that. But we did meet and talk about these issues. We'll meet with the SACP on Monday because we don't have hostility with the SACP, and I want to reiterate. If the SACP has got a fundamental issue in relation to GNU and other matters, they are free to raise that to us. We are allies. I can never ever treat the South African Communist Party and Soli as the enemy of the ANC. We are allies. It does not mean that there is a branch of the ANC, and the ANC is not a branch of the Communist Party. And I don't own Comrade Soli's thinking capacity. He's a leader in his own right. He sees things in his own way. I cannot ask Comrade Soli to explain himself to ANC officials. But if Panyaza does that, I'll call him to explain himself. But Soli, I've got no such right. He's a general secretary of the party. I don't. That's why we engage in a bilateral. So we'll engage with the party on these particular issues, and these things never end. So MDM and everybody and so on and individuals, we must also begin to understand what is MDM, because we've briefed all our structures in the country about the positions the movement have taken, and they've agreed with us. Why Gauteng and KZN? This is the place where we suffered the biggest setback in the country. We are below 50%. in KZN were almost annihilated politically. Not annihilated, obliterated. We are number 3 after Inkatha Freedom Party. Jacob Zuma Party is number 1. Now, you want to ask a question, Yabantu Bechugu, Uguji, why you are not disbanding the national structure. You want to disband the provinces and all of that. We are not even there. So the national structure have got an obligation to direct the organization. We're not directing this organization individually. We work with a collective. So from the National Executive Committee meeting, it was resolved that we must visit provinces and prioritize KZN and Gauteng. We had a 6-day meeting. After that meeting, we told you that we are going to have a special meeting. I address you about that. I told you in that same press conference that we will prioritize Gauteng and to look at the state of affairs there and all of that. So that's what we're doing, implementing the decisions of the National Executive Committee to look at these provinces, which are densely populated, and we have suffered in a big way, below 50% in Gauteng and KZN. And we will still go even to Mpumalanga and so on. And then Tembi matter is will come to the ANC when the Integrity Commission is done and make their own recommendation based on their engagement with Comrade Tembi. That's where we are. So, but I see you running a big headline every weekend about Tembi. And so it's either the president, if it is not the president, it's me, on the same thing. But look, we have conversed on this thing. I don't know whether there is a statement, but all of the things that were reported are not true. That the president knew certain matters and all of that, because I spoke to the chair of the Integrity Commission. But we don't want to run a parallel commentary whilst there is an Integrity Commission. I spoke to Put Frank, and then he says, SG, where have you seen a judge running a commentary when he's overseeing matters? In no time, it will be prejudice. And I know that Integrity Commission, people say against sources, but that committee is solid. You know, those old people don't leak. If anybody leak, is because of mischief, misinterpreting, interfering with the work of the Integrity Commission. I know them, they don't leak, and I don't buy that story, that there was a leakage. I think there is something that people are trying to do in that corner. But Comrade Tembi is attending to the matters, and if there's any issue, it will come to the fore to us. As procedurally, the Integrity Committee seats give recommendations to the ANC, and then I take them to the officials and to the NEC. Now, in the meeting of that is coming, 2 issues we are going to discuss: reports of the Integrity Commission. Anizufumana leak nizawubriefwa ndim after the meeting. What does the NEC resolve on each of the cases, if it has resolved, or what is the way forward? We will finalize the matters of the Integrity Commission there. They are invited. We are aligning as part of the renewal. We are going to have a big workshop on integrity. Part of our education syllabus, politically, all the time. You did engage with us about what he announced in public. And we agreed with that as the ANC. And to that effect, the ANC will have released a statement to say that we agree with the approach the president have actually taken. But the Bella Bill has been signed. After 3 months, if there is no agreement on those issues between us, then the bill is going to be implemented with the 3 outstanding issues. So we are going to meet with the political parties that have raised issues around these matters. And on the side of the ANC, I'm convening the team that is engaging on that matter. And in the next 2 weeks, we should have convened and met with other political parties on the outstanding matters. We will not be party to anyone who seeks to drive an agenda of wedge driving in the ANC, but at the same time projecting us as the ANC in government as helpless. By far, we occupy a number of ministries and we are leading in government, working with others. And ministers have been doing very well in terms of their respective, obligations. Lamola led the biggest mission of this government to UNGA, together with Pakstow, in terms of trade and industry. And this is their debate in terms of their ministries. And they're doing very well. Government will be judged by the people, not self-praise by a political party. Okay? The ANC can sit here at Luthuli House and say, hey, Minister so and so, no, we are part of government. We want government to function, and that's what is important. And on the 100 days of government, of national unity, ANC will make its own reflections through its president. And we expect government to follow. All ministers, including those who are in DA, who come from other political parties, we expect government to give an account of the 100 days. What have you done? Not this partisan, narrow political party, but what can we do if a political party strategy is about scoring victories, even if they are easy, and telling lies? What can we do about that? Is there a plan? We will reflect on the 100 days. What does government as a whole, in our own view as the ANC, what has this government done? And we have done that evaluation, and we are concluded. And on Monday, we've got an appointment here. And we don't have drinks, but you can bring your own. So we will also thank our people in these 100 days, but for voting the ANC, and commit ourselves to working harder for this government to changing the lives of the people for the better. It looks like our government and this country is going in a positive direction. And that's what is important in these 100 days. And the polls are saying that. The polls are saying, you talk about the MDN and everybody, the polls are saying ANC supporters are very happy with GNU. When they say good things, you start asking how credible. When they don't say good. I've stopped arguing with polls. We have stopped as the ANC. We were told that we'll get 40%. And then you kept on asking, what do you think? We said to you, we are working very hard not to get to 40%. We got 40%, clean. Polls told us that. So you can sit here and argue with them. But you work yourself out of the percentages that are negative, upwards, as a party. And then you don't argue with what is presented to you in terms of the data. So what the data is telling us is that in these 100 days, people are positive, and they give practical things. Why? There is hope in our country, and everybody is responding very well, and so on. COSATU was marching yesterday, and they were marching on the day of decent work, and at the same time putting their demands on the table. Now, I saw somebody making an issue out of that. This is the first salvo to the GNU. I mean, COSATU have been marching even against the ANC government for years. And we never even agreed, our ministers in government, in terms of with the workers and all of that, on some of the living wage demands that were put on the table. Now it is GNU. I mean, that was a very lousy punch. But the point is that I think we are on track, and we will work very hard from where we are. And we want to encourage government to continue to do well, to changing the lives of the people for the better. And On Monday, we will give an account about these 100 days. Thank you very much.
Thank you, SG. We do look out for updates on what has been spoken about. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
They are busy comparing notes. Tomorrow it's tough because of that. Sorry. But they talk